So if we want to start the meeting, do you want to make a motion to accept the minutes?
Yes, I move we accept the minutes as published last week or from last month.
July 6th, so moved. Okay, so we'll move on to Jim, the septic and sewer summary. You want to talk about that? I'm Don Snyder, Jim. I haven't met you before, so welcome to the meeting.
Yeah, sort of. Thanks for having the meeting today. So I'm not really sure what role I'm playing right now with this conversation with respect to sewer expansion in other parts of Stockbridge, but I think over the years, so Tri-Town and the Board of Health oversees the septic piece of Title V, and once properties convert over to sewer, we don't really have any involvement. But I've been working with Mike for many years now and others, and we worked with Stockbridge in the last sewer expansion. We've helped some private homeowners kind of go onto their own private sewer systems, and I think what I bring to the table is probably the perspective of we have a lot of tough sites in Stockbridge still that aren't on sewer. In particular, like Lake Drive, there's a lot of ledge issues and a lot of older systems. And, and a couple of years ago when we created the cyanobacteria task force, which was led through the Dr. Kenny and the Board of Health, the topic kind of kept coming up when we start looking at watershed and environmental quality and trying to prevent, future blooms. And, the topic of older septic systems had always come up to the forefront on the table. And then as that cyanobacteria committee kind of dissolved and it kind of morphed into where it is today, the conversation continues to come up, and we see a lot of septic systems that aren't functioning really well over there. And in some cases, homeowners are dropping 50, 60K on these innovative septic systems with huge mounds and setback issues to the lake, setback issues to other wells, and it continues just to be a challenge. And I think over the years, the conversation always continues about, well, what can we do to make, Stockbridge Bowl water quality better? One piece of many is trying to provide better sewerage. And so while Tri-Town and the Board of Health doesn't play a direct role on sewer expansions, I think being at the table to talk about what we see with respect to Title V brings a lot of value to the town.
Okay. So this paper that we have here, this is from you?
No,
No, this is from you. So we have no idea.
it's an in-house survey, that they did with all their neighbors, just see where they all
Okay,
stand.
because I just looked at this now, so.
Yeah,
So I could walk you through it, but the thing is, at the last water sewer meeting, we were asked to take a survey of all our homeowners to see what the interest would be, also to get an idea of the age of the septics that currently are on the property and how many have failed and so on. So that's basically what we did. And we said we would come back at the next meeting with that information. So we did the survey. I took all the information and I summarized it on the summary sheet, and all the details supporting it is in the schedule behind it.
Before we go any further, would you people introduce yourself?
Sure.
I don't know if you know who we are also. Mike Buffoni, Don Schneider, Tony Campetti, Jennifer Carmichael.
Yeah, I'm Beth Laster-Nathan. I live at 14 Lake Drive in the Lake Drive Association.
Okay,
I'm Rachel Revest. I live at 36 Lake Drive.
okay.
I'm her husband, I live at 36.
Same place, huh?
Same place, for now.
There you go. Okay, fine, thanks. Yeah, if you would sort of go through this a little bit, that would be great.
Sure. So basically, the Lake Drive Association, which is on the outlet of Stockbridge Bowl, has 39 member units, one of which is the Tennessee Gas. I need to take my mask off. One of which is the Tennessee Gas company, which just goes across the land. They do not have a habitat there, so to speak. There are 6 residents that are currently hooked up to sewer, 2 that are on Interlaken Road, Route 183, and 4 that are living on Lake Drive on the south entrance, close to where the sewer goes across the outlet, the sewer line.
Yeah, I
And they
think
hooked up
Anita's
years
house is
ago.
one of them.
Excuse me?
Anita, your house is one of them?
Yes.
Yes, Anita is one, the
Okay.
Bones, Reardon, and, let's see, who's the 4th one? There's the.
Anyway, that's fine.
I have to look and see who the 4th one is, can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, we'll just keep going, that way, we'll know. So, but 32 are on septic or tight tank right now. There are 23 homes on the outlet of Stockbridge Bowl that are on the water, and there are 15 that are off the waterfront. So basically, based on our survey, 32 homes are interested in hooking up to a sewer system. Based on our survey, 13 septics that we are aware of have failed to date. One is currently in a failed status. Until the property is sold and a Title V inspection is done, some residents who have been on the Lake Drive for many years may not know they have a failing system. Only when it backs up or it stops working altogether do they become aware that there's a problem with their septic. So that can lead to runoff into the lake and causing all kinds of health problems and so on, even because everybody is on well. There's no water down there. So currently there are 4 homes running on a tight tank, and they're all waterfront. And some of those tanks have what's called Orangeburg or tar paper pipes, and which break down over time as invasive roots can penetrate the pipe, and that causes backup for them. I know one of the members of our Lake Drive board, that happened to him, and he had to replace the pipe between his house and his tight tank. So there were 3 tight tanks that were installed between 2003 and 2007. And there was 1 tight tank that was installed in 1987. So they've been on it a really long time. There are 6 waterfront homes that have installed the Jetback or Elgin Geotech sand system. Actually, only 1 home has the Geotech sand. Everybody else is on a Jetback advanced system, which I don't know if you're familiar with what it is, but it runs on electricity. It has fans and an aerator, and it's in a mound. And by the time the water goes through the system, it's a claim that you can drink it. I wouldn't, but we have one at our home at 14 Lake Drive. We put it in 16 years ago, 16 to 17 years ago. We've been in our house almost 16 years now.
And it's still effective?
Oh, yes, and the thing about it is that it's a very expensive system to put in, and it has to be maintained. So for like the first 5 years that you're on that system, we had to have a company come and do test the water, and submit a report to Tri-Town and to the state, to DEP. And now it's down to twice a year that they have to come. So after 5 years, they only come twice a year. And that's at a cost to us, obviously, to come in and inspect it. But as far as I know, everybody who's on that Jetback has had has had no problems with it at all. However, they're all new systems. They're all, like, I think mine is the oldest, and it's, as I said, 16 to 17 years old. So the other thing that we found was that based on our survey, we have 12 septic systems that are 20 to 40 plus years old. One is a tight tank. It's that one I mentioned earlier. And in addition, there are 6 residents who do not know when their septics were installed. And I spoke to Jim yesterday and I asked if there's any way that we can do some research to find out when those septics were installed and perhaps even why they were installed, when they were. And if there was a failed septic at that time, just to give us more data. And I'm going to send a list to Jim. And he said they can look it up there and in their office, in their records. So I'm assuming that all but one home are approximately 30 to 40 years old, and 4 of those 6 homes are on the waterfront. So, and then the last thing is that there are 8 undeveloped properties right now in the Lake Drive Association that are owned, and one of them just got their plans approved to put a home and a septic system in, and that is actually, I'm amazed that they got it, but it's kind of what I would consider wetlands, but they did whatever they had to do
Must
to
have got a perk
satisfy
test.
planning and Concom. And so, and all those 8 properties, by the way, are pretty much on the, not all of them are on the waterfront. That one I know is, I think there might be 2 others that are on the waterfront. And that's about it in terms of the survey. And then I had some questions, so.
Sure.
But I didn't know, I wanted to ask if you had any questions about the survey first.
No, I mean, it's,
The one thing that I remember from the last time we met, was there 6 or 7 full-time residents out of all the houses?
Yeah, there's about 6 of us.
6
out of
full-time?
39 residents.
And, well, 38 residences because Tenneco
Oh, okay.
is one of our members, but they don't have a house or anything. They do have something up on the top of, towards 183, some kind of plant. I don't know, Jim might know better about what that is, but but they don't have a house.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's just the land, because we have to make, they're part of our association because we're a road association. And so we have to maintain the roads for them as well, so they have access. Because you can't do anything on their roads without their approval. And we've gone through that before. Is there anything else?
No, it just, where to go from here, I guess is the next phase.
That was what that was one of my questions, where do we
Because,
go from here?
We always do, we do a 5-year projection of things that we want to do, different projects. And number 1, this is not on it. And number 2, this isn't for us to decide as far as monies go. It would be something that the finance committee and the selectmen would be. We're an advisory group to the selectmen. And right now, this project isn't on our radar, if you will. We have several streets in town, Quiet Knoll is one of them, where the people have put the septic system in themselves, and after a year has turned it over to us for maintenance forever. So that's something possibly to think about. Again, right now, we have no monies budgeted or thoughts for Lake Drive.
So it's interesting because I had gone to a select board meeting expressly to ask, before the budget was finalized, to expressly ask that monies be set aside for an engineering study. And I was told by, I believe it was Roxanne, that there's money in the water sewer budget to hire an engineer. That's not something we can address here. So I think there has to be some clarification about who's responsible for what.
Well, we have water and sewer surplus that we take monies out of, but sewer is, taking the sewer pump stations getting replaced on Park Street right now. And water surplus and sewer surplus are not very big, bank accounts, if you will, when it comes to putting in infrastructure. And what is the proposed it's gonna be $750,000 for the sewer station, right?
Yeah.
And this has been something we've been trying to do for 10 years.
Right.
So it's, town meeting has to vote that money out of surplus to go forward with engineering. So, and right now, the sewer surplus is way down. It's like $100,000 or $200,000. And some of that money's gonna have to be used for, I think, these loan payments that are gonna be coming up. The users are gonna be paying for the lion's share of it. So, so just to clarify the water and sewer surplus aspect of it, and water pays for water infrastructure and sewer surplus pays for
Right.
sewer infrastructure.
So I think at the last meeting, Jill Hay, who lives on Lake Drive, she brought some information that, money's coming down the pike from the state of
Yeah.
Massachusetts,
Mhm.
and it's specifically for infrastructure. So that's one possible source
Yep,
when it does come. And then when the federal government passes the infrastructure bill, which it looks like it's going to.
They just did.
Oh, they
They
did?
voted it today.
the small one, yeah, the first one, yep.
The first one,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the other one has to do with human services
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people, more than the infrastructure, I think.
And the one thing that we have to really, we had a meeting, with some drainage issues, and we have a very large water and sewer collection system and water distribution system. And a lot of it's over 130 years old, and we really need to focus on, taking care of what we have before we go and branch out any further. I mean, we had, with all this rain in July, we had some
Yeah.
major rain infiltration issues, let's say, for a lot of the sewer. We were inundated with water down.
That we're gonna have to address.
Yeah,
We have to.
and actually the state is,
We also had problems on Lake Drive because.
I think everybody's having problems no matter where you are
With the
now.
septic,
Yeah.
not, forget the roads, which we spent
Yeah.
a full year's budget in July on fixing our roads. But also, Steve and Rachel were here and their septic just, flooded.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they have a porta potty back there that
Yep.
they have on their.
The groundwater table, the ground is just absolutely saturated right now, and being near the lake, it's gonna be even worse.
Yeah, well, hopefully August will dry us out a little bit. But, our big concern is that other people are also going to be coming and asking to hook into the sewer system. And when we were here at the last meeting, we talked about capacity without having to build another station. And so that's why we're trying to be on your radar.
Sure.
And be on the town's radar. And,
I can't say fortunately, but we haven't had, we've had one person inquiring about hooking up to the system, and they live on a street, and it didn't go anywhere. We sent them a letter back saying essentially the same thing. They're not on our radar yet for sewer expansion. And again, we wanted to, because of the expenses that we incurred through the years, we want to be able to take care of what we have, just like Mike was saying. And that's where we are. If homeowners wanted to move forward with this on their own, we would certainly be open for that discussion, because we do have capacity. And we haven't had a lot of people asking us to expand the system at all right now. So,
And the selectmen will be the ones who will decide where, what is it, 530,000?
500 and some odd thousand,
Yeah.
that's, I
Selectmen,
mean,
that's their, they'll decide.
and to be honest, the selectmen, if they look at the projects, we have a shovel-ready project waiting, and it's costing us $700,000. That could be, if they wanted to do that, use it for payment of that pump station that we're replacing. But we haven't talked to them about it, and they have their own jurisdiction, whatever they want to do with it.
okay, the one that you've been waiting to fix or work on?
Yeah, replace.
To
Replace, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the design will be finalized over the winter, and people will be going out to bid. It was passed at the town meeting to move forward with it.
Right.
So it'll be going into a construction phase, hopefully in this next
hopefully
construction
next-
season in the spring.
Right,
of
so
next year.
that- so that's set.
Yeah.
It seems to me that it's pretty set.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, and I have a question, because we might have asked this at the last meeting, but is DeSisto on sewer?
Yes.
Yes,
They are, okay, so we don't have to worry about them.
Since the 80s.
and they put that in themselves. Because I was on the board then when Mike came and asked us to hook up. And we negotiated with him, if he would put the system in, which we encouraged, he'd have to leave stubs for everyone coming down the street. So we got that system, and we also had stubs, so everyone on that system on 183 could hook up to that system.
Right, and is there water there also?
Yes.
There is water?
Yes,
They have a privately owned pump station at the end of the cul-de-sac at Tree Farm Road. And they have a 6-inch water main that goes all the way up to the campus. They put in the 80s. They were basically told by the state back then, the DEQE, you will hook up the town water and you will hook up the town sewer, because they had just the infrastructure issues they had at the time.
Right, no, I remember.
Yeah.
That was a big school.
Yeah. And they ran sewer all the way down 183 to, they tied in at Quiet Knoll, right, Tone, that
Yeah,
manhole
right.
there?
right in front of Tracy's house, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because we've noticed some, like at Averick Road, I've noticed that there, of course, that's where the reservoir is going up. I've noticed some.
That's private.
Fire hydrants and.
Yeah, that's raw water from the lake.
Uh-huh,
The water just kind of dribbles out of those because it's the lake so close. There's no real pressure there.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, it seems to me that, do you have any suggestions of where we can go with this? Because,
I mean, I thought that at the last meeting, I was on Zoom, but I thought Peter brought up a couple points, and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, maybe just, express to the selectmen your concerns maybe, and, maybe you could, get on their radar and maybe they could, take on some of it or get some interest in it moving forward, maybe with next year's budget, and who knows? I mean, I don't know what the flavor of that board would be for a monetary help that way.
But conversely, the other end of the scale is, we have people in this town who have lived here all their lives and they don't have town sewer. And these are the people that, I'm not sure if this goes forward, when we have 38 houses, of which 4 are year-round residents, how that would play out.
the only
I'm
thing
just
is
saying.
that we're on the lake. And that
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
and that's a big concern about.
Environmentally.
Environmentally, and so I would definitely enlist Charles Kinney and the health department in that discussion, because I know that I was living in Stockbridge when the last big sewer project was done. And conservation at the time had said our goal would be to sewer all of Stockbridge Bowl. And everything except for Lake Drive and then the private homes that are going along 183, we were, everybody else was sewered. So, that's a big concern because of failing septics. I mean, that's why we really wanted to see how many septics have failed and how many septics are so old that in the next few years, they're going to fail. And then the next 10 to 15 years, even the new septics that have been put in 15 years ago are going to fail. And that's a problem because there are so many homes that are on the lake. There's 23 homes that are on, sitting along the outlet.
We do take, when we do, I've been involved with the cyanobacteria sampling and data collection and all that. And I haven't had time to look, but I want to look into see, we do test for phosphates and nitrite, nitrate, which are indicators of runoff of septic and whatnot, and fertilizers and what have you. So I haven't looked at that data closely, but we take a sample in the outlet down at the spillway that's overflowing. And it'd be interesting to see if there is, those numbers do climb, especially with this last month.
Right.
But with that being said, there's so much water going in. I mean, they always say the solution to pollution is dilution, so it might be really, really minuscule numbers,
But
but
if you compound that with the sediment that's building up in the outlet every year and the inability for the water to flow.
oh, yeah.
Should be.
Oh, I know.
And we-
Remember, we put all the drains in there and
Can't use them.
can't
Well, we
use them.
have that diversionary pipe,
Yeah.
which we haven't been able to take advantage of
Yeah.
because we need to dredge, so that's the other
Yeah.
piece of it that the town is working on now,
Yeah.
luckily. So, yeah, it's just looking ahead because, we don't want to be in a crisis situation where, all of these septics are failing in
Yeah.
a year or in 2 years and it's, polluting the bowl. And I'm definitely going to stay on it.
Yeah.
No, and
I think
Because
like
I
what-
see it as really important to maintain. It's not just, I have a good septic. It's not, it's not a personal thing. It's really about the health of the lake for me. And so it would be interesting to see those numbers. It really would. And to see where they were and now where they are. And
Oh, I'm sure back in the day, it was with everybody's septic
Oh,
going
yeah.
in there. I'm sure that the weeds were
yeah.
very happy back then because there was so much food for them.
So I'm going to, I think that I've given you guys all the information that
Yeah.
we need, that you need
Yes.
from Lake Drive, you have it, And I think at this point, I'll approach the Department of Health and the Select Board. And
Yeah,
see,
this-
because I know it takes a long time, and finance eventually, because it takes a long time to get all those things in process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It
So,
does.
Great, well, I appreciate your time today.
Well, thanks for coming in. I mean, you have to be an advocate and,
Yeah.
You've done your diligence with your report here.
yeah.
And I'm not a statistician.
So now we have some numbers.
It's been a lot of counting. The other thing was that Jim had mentioned something. Jim, I didn't really quite understand. Maybe you can explain it a little better. You mentioned something about possibly putting in our own septic system, like a central septic system on Lake Drive and having us hook into it.
Yeah, there's definitely an option there. It's called a shared septic system. So, one of the things I've worked with other municipalities on, especially private groups, where they would do their own engineering assessment and see what those costs would be. I think the more information you'll have to present, the better. But of course, there's always a cost associated with doing the engineering behind, trying to run all these lines with E1 grinder pumps up to the main municipal sewer system. But, I think that's an important piece to learn because and you and I talked about this yesterday about, once homeowners understand what the actual cost is to do a sewer, the connection fees, whatever the municipal fees are, their minds could change, right? Because it's like, well, it's going to cost me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year, whatever this connection. So I think we need to learn more about that. But to answer the question, there are opportunities if you can find the land to do a shared septic system where you could theoretically put your own tanks in and pump chambers to a centralized septic field. It's definitely doable. It's just a matter of coordinating with the right people, getting an engineer involved, doing perk tests, but you wouldn't want to go over 10,000 gallons per day because if you do, you will need a groundwater discharge permit from DEP. So you can probably do a series of smaller systems, but again, that would be the homeowners to decide to hire an engineer to look at that, see if it's even possible.
And is there a way to calculate the number of gallons that are needed, like based on the current membership in Lake Drive?
Yeah, so each bedroom is 110 gallons per day. So if you divide that by 10,000, I'll give you your total bedroom count that you would have the threshold of not requiring a DP permit.
And that, can you repeat the last thing again? It would require.
So each bedroom is rated at 110 gallons per day.
Right.
So it's all about the number of bedrooms these homes are connecting to. So if you do the math, which I'm in the field right now, I can't do in my head. If you take 10,000 per day divided by 110, that'll give you your total bedroom count to be within the threshold of not requiring a DEP permit.
Ah, okay, that's the part I wanted to hear, that not requiring a DEP permit, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I think
Yes, it is.
the next phase definitely is, if it's ever going to happen, is engineering. Definitely have to have engineering work on this.
Right, right. Okay, great. Well, thank you for clarifying. That's helpful, because I didn't quite get it yesterday, so I get it today.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, well, thank you.
thank you.
And if anything comes up, I think you guys have my email. And if not,
You have her email, Jennifer?
I have Michael's.
well, you have Michael's, right?
Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think I was on an email originally
I'm
before we
pretty
set
sure.
up the first meeting.
Yep.
And I can send it to you, Jennifer, just to make sure you have it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Great. All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Put your glasses on.
Is there an extra copy here? That wasn't,
Those are extra right there.
oh, okay. Do you want to keep them or?
No, because what I'll probably do is scan it and email it to the other members.
Good job. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can also email it to you if you'd like, then you have my email.
So I've got copies.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Water hauler, late demand fees. Now, did I put this on there?
I think I emailed Jen because it was on a few months ago and we kind of, the ball got dropped on it. So we just wanted to put it back on there. But I mean, I don't think anybody's looked into it or maybe thought about it. I don't, what we wanted to do, so we can always just push it off till next month and,
I know Christine said it can't be a demand fee, it has to be like a late fee.
yeah.
Okay, so, all right, what we'll do is, why don't we, we'll put that on the agenda
Next.
for September's meeting.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why I put that rain issue with the treatment plant stuff, I just wanted John and Peter to be aware of it. That's why I put it there. And maybe, you just want to briefly,
Yeah, so, we got 12 inches of rain plus in July, and there's no mystery from our last I&I study report back in December, or actually January, February, March of 2019, that came back with some numbers that showed we had some infiltration still. And obviously with the amount of rain we've had, which we hardly ever see in 1 month in the Berkshires, especially in July. But anyway, things got inundated. With that said, we did lose some equipment, and I have done a tally and submitted it to Chris Marsden. And there's a certain number threshold that if each town submits as much as they lost to the Berkshire County as a whole, it triggers some kind of a emergency management ticket money to be possibly reimbursed down the road.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, so we lost a few things. Fortunately, we're back up and running, and hopefully things dry up.
Yeah, I dug down, I don't know, 24 inches of putting a post in, and it was damp down there. I mean, it's just, it's certainly not powder.
The treatment plant was pretty much sustainable. Park Street being the weakest link in our collection system, as we all are well aware of, was hit the hardest, which is, unfortunate timing with where we're at with the project. But
So you just think that water just came in through infiltration?
I don't know, John. Mark was down there doing a considerable amount of pumping, and he seems to think that something was back charging, that the river was so high. There was a pipe that looked like it was coming from somewhere from the store side that looked like it was back charging instead of going to the river. Wasn't on site. I was on vacation that week, so I can't speak, but there's a problem that we need to address there.
Okay,
And, we had a meeting today. We're having monthly DPW meetings with myself, Mike and Hugh Page and Mike Canal, the town administrator. And we spent an hour and a half down on Park Street, kind of walking the drainage and talking to residents and hearing concerns about the flooding that went on. And, we're hoping to kind of move towards maybe some engineering towards, looking at a fix down there.
Good. Yeah, that's,
Not only the pump station, but the piping, not only the sewer piping, but the drainage as well.
yeah, I think maybe
We
that.
don't have a real good handle on what's what.
Coming down through there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the shape of it, if any of it's compromised.
Or maybe coming down through from.
Yeah.
Elm Street.
Elm and Maple, half of Elm and all of Maple discharge down to the drainage on Park Street and into the river. So
So maybe.
something's compromised down there. We're not sure what yet.
Yeah, okay. Park Street pump stations, Mike Canal is still working on that.
Mike Canales has received a proposal from DPC Engineering. And the reason I don't think he's forwarded to you guys yet is he's still working out some quirks with some of the language with it. He's, as we spoke today, one of our discussions was by the end of this week, he's hoping to have that finalized in some way, shape or form.
Okay,
You should be hearing.
good. Tuckerman's Bridge,
With our meeting that Tony mentioned this morning with Mike, I did ask him about that, and he was hoping to have that contract signed and back to Foresight today or this week at the latest. So then they'll start moving forward. He jumbled some stuff around in that, and which made good sense.
but there may be a chance that'll be done this fall.
Oh, yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Good. The steering committee report. So you did have a meeting after July, after our last meeting. Did you have a meeting with the steering committee?
Yes, and John is the liaison back and forth for that. Pretty much we've just been, Mark and I went up and did the testing. Not much has been talked about with sewering up around the lake, but Mark and I just keep moving along with the testing. They might, with the way this rain events that we've been having, they might require us or ask us to go up and do a little, maybe twice a month, depending on the way the water is going up there. Cause the way the professionals are looking at it, we do have a potential for some issues at the lake, possibly. So they might have us go up there in any more big rain events and.
Now, who gets the results of your testing?
I believe the selectmen get all that. I don't get any of that.
Okay, I was just
I'm
wondering.
on request, I'm sure I could, but no, all that stuff gets sent to the selectmen.
Okay. The concrete barriers, I noticed that they're still there. They
still are.
If you have a plan to move those?
Yeah, we
things?
got to get up there. We were trying to get up there last Friday to do it, but it didn't materialize, and it's on the radar. Huey's getting all this yard cleaned up down there, and he's dealing with scrap yards and stuff. And I've been in the plant because we've been having issues with the reservoir with the amount of rain we've had, and I've been doing a lot of backflow testing too. So we will
Okay.
hopefully get up there and move those old ones out and put the new ones in.
Yeah.
And it'll probably take us a couple hours to do it, but it's just finding the time.
Yeah. Comment letter to the state concerning regulations. I signed that with, and I think Roxanne through the selectmen also
Yeah,
signed that.
yeah, she did.
So that is, that's just our comments on, because they essentially want to do it statewide instead of townwide.
Instead of the towns having the discretion to institute water use restrictions, the state wants to set a set of, I guess, mandates or regulations for level 1 drought, level 2, level 3, level 4. And when we have level 1 or level 2 droughts in our area, sometimes our lake is almost overflowing, and that's where a lot of the towns are having issues with this regulation they want to push on us. And they extended the comment period because there was such an influx of comments being made, especially from the big water systems. I mean, this really hurts the pocketbook of the meter, people using the water, and if there's, everybody's a little upset that it's not gonna be at the discretion of the water, water operators,
Well,
water system.
just think of, in our area in Berkshire County, we were inundated with rain, and Tony knows down at the Cape, it's drought conditions down there.
Yeah.
We get rain and they get a shower.
Yeah,
And they're hurting down there at
Yeah.
the Cape,
they usually are.
so.
We're also having some of those bacteria outbreaks like we had a couple of years ago at the bowl.
Down there?
Small ponds, yeah.
Mike, with that report that Roxanne and I had Don sign, do you want the original? I scanned it. I know I sent it to you and I sent it to Ray, just,
No, this, I have it in my email file and I printed it, so that's sufficient, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought that was very well done, by the way.
Yes, town council did a nice job on that.
Nice job
Yeah.
on that. Update, the infamous access road.
Yeah, nothing,
Nothing.
no new news there, no.
Now, is that Talbot Center going to be, I noticed there's leveling off in front of the old shed. Is that where the Talbot Center might be going?
I don't know, no idea.
I think what you're seeing being done over there is just Huey cleaning up the mess
Cleaning
for
up the junk?
decades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it looks good. It's
does look-
taking shape. It's
Yeah.
long overdue.
Done a lot of work over there.
He's certainly done a nice job, hasn't he? And another thing too is the guy who's doing the mowing. I don't know.
Oh, Jim,
Jim White?
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
They're mowing stuff I've never seen mowed in this
Yeah.
town.
Making a difference, isn't
It
it?
really does. He does the weed whack. It looks great.
yeah.
He really should get a letter from someone because he's doing a great job. Okay, concerns, Tony and Mike?
What about the abatement?
Yeah, we have an abatement that was put on the new agenda.
It should be on there, Don.
Yeah, I have an older copy. You probably didn't print the new one either. I didn't.
I have an older.
So there was an abatement filed from DeSisto. They had an instance up there where this spring, I went up there, Sean, one of the maintenance guys said the lawn was really wet up there and he wanted to see if they had a water leak, and they did. And what it ended up being was, there was a water shut off from one of the old buildings they tore down, and one of the guys hit it with a lawnmower. And when they hit it, it spun it just enough where it opened the valve like halfway or something. And the copper water line that used to go to the building was never capped. So it was just running.
Right.
And I want to say it was like 500,600,000 gallons of water that went out. And so they want to abate this, they've asked them to abate the sewer. They know they got to pay for all the water, but the sewer abatement's a little over $4,000. Christine did the usual, averaged it back. 3 years, and they've been in good shape there, but unfortunately, that was, so.
A lot of water.
Yeah, and Don Davis went up and dug it up, the water shut off, and put a new valve box on it and shut it off, and I think they cut the pipe and capped it right near the shut off, so it wouldn't be an issue again.
So I'm having a bit of a problem with granting the sewer abatements on these things that are due to negligence on the owner part. That water shut off should have been capped. This is cavalier behavior on the owner. And if we don't start putting some teeth into these charges, then this is just going to continue everywhere. So I just want to go on record that I'm not in favor of abating the sewer in this case. And I'm obviously not in favor of abating the water usage either.
Yeah, none of the water was abated. They're paying full, they understand they have to pay the full boat on the water, which they are.
Which I understand, Mike, but there's a penalty that should be paid for being negligent in maintaining your water and sewer. And if you have a leaky toilet or a leaky pipe in your yard or something like that, it's incumbent on you to get it fixed and to identify that problem. And I just want to say that moving forward, I'm not in favor of abating either water or sewer for issues due to negligence on the owner's part. This is not a broken pipe in the street where it is the water department's issue. This is on private property. No other utility would abate. The power company wouldn't, the phone company wouldn't, the cable company wouldn't, sewer and water should not either.
It is a big number, a $4,000 sewer bill. It had to be running for an awful long time.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
But again,
discovered a day later.
But again, they didn't know about it. You know, so the pipe wasn't capped, but still.
But they're supposed to be reading that meter down in the meter pit, right?
Yeah, they
stopped doing that, obviously.
yeah.
So they didn't do their diligence, really. I'm not
It's
saying that.
negligence. It's negligence. They have a responsibility.
I think what we'll do is we'll look at each one individually and make a decision. Okay. Is there anything else?
I have just an update. We did have our watershed inspection, which I mentioned, but I finally got the report back. There's some recommendations in there. I think, I'm not sure if I emailed you guys that. I think I did. Yes, I just got it Monday, yesterday. So I might have forwarded it along to you guys to read, and we can go over some recommendations that they have for next meeting. And the other thing I have is the boundary lines have been painted all the way around the entire watershed, our property at the reservoir. Jeff and another guy went up there and they painted all the lines, which that comes out of, the forestry budget. But Jeff hadn't done it in a little while. And he put up, more signs where some signs had been taken down, or the bears like to play with our signs as well. So, and the only other thing, Tony and I have our printouts for the budgets, but without everybody being here and not being able to look at it, how our fiscal year ended, 20 ended, last year with our, water and sewer commitments coming in. We did pretty darn well. Money wise coming in. Of course, this is the perfect world where, everybody
pays the bill.
yeah, everybody pays the bill the day we send it out type of thing, but, I haven't gotten any updated water or sewer surplus numbers yet, because our, Cheryl, our new town accountant, is, learning the system and learning how town stuff operates, so I didn't wanna throw that into the wrench, while she's learning the system, so, it looks like with water, we netted around $173,000 last year. Obviously that money is going to be coming in during the course of this fiscal year. And then, we expended all the budget. And the surplus last number I got was $516,500. I think it's the bottom line there on, the bottom line is $516,487. Flip it over. Flip that over down. That's FY '21 on the top there, it says, on top of the, yep. So, now we can go over these again, and I can email them to Peter and John, just so they can look at them. And we can bring them again next month. And
Yeah, Jennifer, you want to just put that on the Agenda will do that.
And Tony has his as well.
Yeah, my net was like 255 and change. And unfortunately, we got hit with the debt service twice because it didn't get on the warrant in FY '20. So our net was a little bit down, but due to that, I think we were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if that hadn't been doubled down on us. But the current surplus is looking pretty good. It's 383 and change, so
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's,
moving forward, we won't forget about these things.
yeah. And,
So that's all I had.
okay. Just going back to the Lake Drive issue, I think what needs to be done, if they want to go forward with it, I mean, they can obviously go and talk to the selectmen about this. But if they get, what they really need to do is get some engineering going. Whether they start paying, you know, do it out of pocket. That to me is the next, it's not going to be on our dime.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done in the system we have now to rather start extending. And that's why people have been doing it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And the debt service is a big, you know, every year, $100,000 is a big one that grabs money out of the sewer surplus and,
Yeah, especially 2 years.
yeah.
So the priority here should be the users that are paying fees to us and not expanding the sewer until we solve problems for our users first.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree, Peter.
Yeah, really take a look at that Park Street situation and, yeah, take care of what we have, Peter. You're right. Okay, is there anything else? Peter, you want to make a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Okay, so move. Thank you. Peter?